What's up, folks? I am coming to you from the boat cave. I've got a somewhat of a short video for you guys. As you can probably tell from the thumbnail and from the title, I'm switching over to everything Googan Baits. So I'm going to do a little bit of a review or kind of a gear overview of what we've got, and over the next several weeks, we'll get to see these baits in action. Man, it is hot out here. It is hotter than the surface of the sun. If the surface of the sun was in 3 other stars that were supernovaing, is that a word? It is hotter than a fresh pile of flapjacks on an Alabama tin roof in July. It is hotter than my wife frying up a fresh batch of jalapeno poppers in yoga pants. It's warm out here, okay? So I'm gonna go over some of these baits real quick, what we've got, and I'm gonna explain why I'm switching over to everything Googan. And then also I'll do a little bit of a gear overview of what I've got, as well as I want to show you kind of the truck setup and a few other things. So without further ado, we won't see you down at the water. We will see you back at the boat cave. Enjoy some B-roll footage and an intro. Okay, so just quick, what do we got here? We've got basically every soft plastic that I could get my hands on. I had to go to 2 different stores in order to get a hold of all of this stuff, because Googan Baits have been kind of hard to come by, hit or miss, because during this pandemic, a lot of the fishing gear has gone out of stock, and Googan Baits have been one of them that are kind of hard to get a hold of. So I've got myself some slim shake worms. Those are nice little trick worms. We've got our bandito bug, which is good little creature bait. Also works good as trailers on on jig heads, spinning baits, things of that nature. We have your classic lunker log, 5-inch lunker log, and one of my favorite colors, which is watermelon red flake. And then we've got our saucy swimmers, which are swim baits, and they're going to work good on a swim jig. Got them in a couple different colors. We have right here the trench hog, which is a pretty big creature bait. It can also be used as a trailer on some of the bigger jigs. Obviously some more lunker logs. We got our little rattling Ned. These work on Ned rigs, as well as you can just rig them up for something if you're just trying to. They just won't bite on something too big. You put a nice little snack size bite on there, that helps. We have our crankbaits here. We've got our banger, our flat banger, and our clutch. These are our crankbaits that we've got. Our banger dives 2 to 5 feet, flat banger dives 3 to 6 feet, and the body of it is slimmer, flat profile rather than this rounded profile here. And then we have our clutch, which is our lipless crank. I don't usually throw lipless cranks too much, but we'll kind of see. I got this one in the shad color. I like that color a lot. And then I got a couple more exotic colors. This one's pretty flashy. So we've got our jigs. We've got our flipping jigs here. I got them in 2 different colors. This one's a little bit more natural of a color. And then we've got our black and blue, also known as a June bug color. Both of these are weedless. Nice little piece right here that helps prevent stuff from catching in there into your hook. So we've got our 6-inch lunker logs, and these are, decent stick baits. You can rig them up Texas rig, you can set them up wacky rig. They can be fished quite a few different ways. And we have our crack and craw, which is a crawdad creature bait. I like this color a lot. This summer craw right here, it's a good looking color. And then we've got our June bug color of our crack and craw. And then we've just got more bandito bug creature bait. So I've got all of my soft plastics I will be replacing with Googan Baits. I will be replacing my crankbaits with Googan Baits. They did not have any spinning baits for Googan in the Googan Bait brand at either of the stores that I went to, at Academy or Bass Pro. They are out of stock. So this is what's replacing the majority of my baits in my tackle box. Reason why I'm switching over to these glorious baits down here, and there we go. The reason I'm switching to these baits is because I want to have a little bit of consistency in my tackle box. As a fisherman, as a fisher person, equal opportunity, you are oftentimes faced with like a barrage of different choices for baits. In fact, just go to Bass Pro, especially if you don't really know what you're looking for, and go down that fishing aisle, you will get anxiety trying to pick just between a few baits, because they have like 12 fishing aisles full of baits. Reality is, I think most brands, they're going to operate the same. They're going to function the same. You know, a stick bait's going to be a stick bait no matter what brand it is. A creature bait's going to be a creature bait. A swimming bait's going to be a swimming bait. I don't think one is necessarily particularly better than the other, but I decided I want to switch to something and get more consistency to where I have nothing but one brand. And I like Googan. I like their products. I like the fact that they're an American company. They're a small business of sorts. I mean, I know they're huge now, but they're still a local American-made product. And so that's why I'm switching over to Googan. I like their products anyways, and so this way, and I'm not being sponsored by them or anything. It's just a good product that I like to promote. And so I've used some of their stuff before, but now I'm tired of having this mix and match hodgepodge of stuff in my tackle bag. That, like, right now, this is my soft plastic selection. I've got just everything from Zoom to KVD to Yum baits to power baits and all of this Berkeley power bait stuff. So it's just all of this. It's not that I don't like any of those brands. It's that I want to switch to one brand. One brand. It's easier for me, so that I'm not, and it may just be a personal thing. Boy, did I mention it's hot? It may just be a personal thing where I don't want to have that overwhelming sense of, well, what should I throw? Well, it's all Googan Baits from here on out, from what I can get my hands on. Again, spinning baits, they're going to have to remain non-Googan baits for right now until some get in stock and I can replace my spinning baits with some Googan baits. But that's what we're doing. Let's take a look real quick at some of the gear, what I use, and how it helps me a lot when working bank fishing, going all about, and the stuff, the fishing gear that I'm carrying with me in my truck every day. Okay, so here's my tackle bag. I like bags versus boxes because the bag is a little bit more versatile. It's easier to carry, and I know this is awfully slimmed down and it's hard to fit all of this into this to a degree, but it is doable. There's the old soft plastics. I'm making room for all of these that are going in here. So in this top pouch here, this is where I carry a couple of my tackle boxes. So I keep in here, I'll keep my crankbaits and my spinner baits. These are gonna go, and these are gonna go in their place. Spinning baits will eventually get replaced. I have a random bobber that doesn't belong in there. It's probably because my wife put it in there. It belongs in this pocket. So that pocket can hold 2 of these pretty comfortably, and I know it's tough to slim it down. And then this is where I'll have my soft plastics. Now my soft plastics and my terminal tackle. Now these are only my ready to go soft plastics. These ones are already rigged up on hooks. So all that I have to do to switch baits is grab them, and you all know that I use swivels on the end of my line. I don't direct tie to the line because it's easier to change everything out. So, you know, like the frogs, which by the way, all of the Googan frogs are out of stock as well. So we'll continue using these pad crushers for the time being. I got my little swim bait, got a weighted crawdad that's gonna get replaced with a Kraken craw. Got our trick worm It's a Power Worm, I think by Berkeley or Zoom or something like that, and it's on a weighted hook. And then so all, you know, and then my lizards. So all of these are hooked and ready to go. So all I have to do is grab one. I don't have to pull them out of the package, put them on the hook and all that stuff. We're ready to go. And here's my, and then all my terminal tackle, like my weights, got all my swivels, because I like to carry extra swivels just in case we break off for whatever reason. We can tie on a new swivel, so we're easy to switch hooks or switch our rigs. So we've got my straight shank hooks and suches and whatnots, all my treble hooks. Got this wacky little experiment of a gar lure that hasn't worked out just yet, and then all my different various hooks in here. So these fit in that pretty comfortably. And then you've also, you know, I've got my trusty fishing gloves, which come in handy when you're handling fish a lot. In fact, I wasn't wearing them when dealing with some gar, and it just kind of tore up my hands. And I wasn't wearing them because I was dealing with live bait and didn't want to get the shad slime all over the gloves. And now I've decided that I'm just going to deal with shad slime on the gloves, so that way whenever I do handle gar, I don't tear up my hands that bad. I also carry a couple of stink baits of sorts, some dough baits. I've got some for carp / catfish, and then some for catfish. Really, honestly, any of these brands work. The smelly ones, the smellier the better for catfish. And this goes all in my little soft plastic box here. Then carry some extra skirts. Those are good to keep for your spinning baits and jigs and stuff. In here, I will carry one of these guys, a little bank rod holder, so that you, when you're bank fishing, you can stick this in there. If you're running a catfish or carp rig, you don't have to sit and hold your pole. You can continue doing some other fishing. Carry a couple of bobbers. These do not cover every single situation, but they cover enough. Also have a rod indicator, just a bell that clips to your rod, so you can set it down in the rod holder and walk away and start bass fishing while you wait for your catfish pole to ding. And we also have in here, we've got a scale, and this is something I don't understand whenever I see fishing videos or people out and about, and they're like, oh, you know, I wish I had a scale with me. This is tiny. It doesn't really take up hardly any space. It's relatively inexpensive. I'm pretty sure I got this at like Bass Pro or something like that. Maybe even got it at Walmart. I don't know. You can find them anywhere. It's just a little scale, and it does not take up much space at all. You just hook it onto the fish and weigh it that way. That way you know your weights, especially if you end up catching like a real big fish that's rivaling your personal best. That way you just know. What else do we carry in here? Oh, and I also carry in here, it's actually attached to the zipper so it doesn't fall down in there. This is a hook file. And the one that I got is kind of cheap, so it didn't like mark which side was medium grit and fine, and so I marked it. But this is to sharpen your hooks. So when you're catching fish and you're getting hooked on logs and stuff a lot, your hooks will get dull, and that will make it more difficult to set a hook, especially in some species of fish that have hard mouths, like gar, for instance. Having a hook file is something that is necessary, I think, in order to keep your hooks sharp and keep your hookups good whenever it comes to fishing. So also along in this wonderful cool pack that I've got here, I've got some rubber gloves to handle some of the nastier fish like catfish. If I'm going out and doing some catfishing, I can throw those gloves on to handle them. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. I keep a fillet knife on hand, a pair of pliers. I like these pliers. You can snip line with them, and you can remove hooks with them. They're slightly longer, so that way you can reach into mouths and get them out. These aren't necessarily hook removing pliers, but they work for that purpose pretty good. Also, I carry with me a pair of snips, if I can get them out. These are useful in cleaning gar. You need these to get through their armor-plated skin. And we'll go over the use of this probably sometime in a gar, catch, clean, cook, or something like that. And then skin pliers, these work good for catfish. When you're cleaning catfish, these are useful to have around. This bag itself is pretty cool. I like it a lot. It's super comfortable. The shoulder straps can be zipped together to create a sling strap, so you can sling it over, so that way you can access it without taking it off your back. You can have it on your back and then sling it around in front. And whenever you do so, you also have yourself a little slot right here as a rod holder. So you can sit your rod in there when you got this pack across your chest, while you grab your baits to switch baits or something along those lines. I also keep on hand a quick tape. So this is useful in case you're fishing for something that has a minimum size limit or even a maximum size limit. So that way you can always have some means of measuring a fish. Whenever I'm on my boat, I've got this handy little boat ruler right here on the fishing deck that I can slap the fish down and get a quick measurement. But whenever I'm on the shore and I'm not on my boat, I want to have something to measure the fish with. You don't want to be guessing at that, especially if the fish is kind of borderline, and say it's a smallmouth bass or a largemouth bass. Here in the state of Oklahoma, the minimum size limit is 14 inches. So if you end up, with a 13.75 inch fish, you're technically breaking the law, and if you get caught, you could get in trouble. That's what I keep with me. This pack goes in my truck every day. So let's take a quick look-see. Climb out of the boat. At the truck. Inside my truck, now not everyone is gonna have the luxury of having a truck with a truck bed or a camper shell, but I keep all my tools in here for my job as a mobile mechanic. But I also carry with me, and this is getting out of hand, folks, I may have too many rods. No, that's not true. You can't have too many rods. Just picked up this red Lew's combo, so that I can have two of the Lew's bait casting combos. It's basically the same specs as my green one. I like it a lot, and just picked up this ugly stick. I haven't spooled these guys up yet, and it's a spinning combo by Ugly Stick. A little bit heavier action of a rod, so that's gonna be a little bit more helpful when handling gar, because gar can be heavy and feisty and a pain to deal with whenever you've got a slightly lighter action rod. This is my wife's fishing rod, and this is an old rod that my son broke on his last catfish, so he's getting one of my other ones. But I've just got these rod racks, and I actually have two of those ones on that side, and then these I can just double up on this end. So this way I can carry a total of 8 rods up out of the way, keep them safe from getting knocked around and stuff like that. And then I've got my little tiny fishing poles for the twins. So that's a lot of gear. I know, and it can be tough to try and keep it all in a vehicle, especially if you drive like a little sedan, but it's possible, it's feasible. And they've got telescoping rods and stuff like that you can get. And I know it seems a bit overwhelming to have all of these baits just to fish for one species of fish. However, if you do a little bit of research, it's not too complicated to figure out. And if you are in need of answering any questions, hit me up in the comment section below. I'm happy to help point people in the right direction. I'm not necessarily an expert per se on the matter, but I do it a lot, and so I know a thing or two about fishing. Now, one last thing before we close out this video. I would like to do a gear giveaway, but we need to hit more subscribers. And I think what we're gonna do is we're going to hook someone up with a tackle pack. I don't know if it'll be this exact brand, this Ghost Horn one. If I can find that exact same one again, I'll get that one because that's a good one. I like it. If not, I'll find you a good one as well. And then the basic needs to get started, and it'll probably be, dependent upon when this giveaway occurs, it'll likely be all Googan Baits. The only reason it wouldn't be is if the giveaway occurs and Googan Baits are wiped out of stock again, because that seems to happen. They go out of stock, and then every so often the stores get a big shipment of Googan Baits, and then they're on the shelves for like a week or two, and then poof, they're gone again. So, and to include all the random odds and ends utensils that you'll need for cleaning fish as well, just to get you started. So I'm gonna hook you up with all of that, but we've got to hit 100 subscribers before I can kick off this giveaway. So I need you to share this video. I need you to like. I need you to subscribe if you haven't already, and then tell your friends to subscribe. I'm sweating so bad right now. What I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna go through, I've got some work to do cut out for me on my tackle. I gotta replace all of the baits with the Googan Baits. I'm gonna put all that together in my tackle box. I've also got a new rod holder that I'm gonna add to the boat, so that way we've got a third rod holder so we can carry extra rods, and when guests come on board, if they bring their rods, we have plenty of space to carry the rods. So that's what I'm going to get after right now. You folks just stay tuned for the next video, subscribe so you don't miss that video, turn on the notification icon, and we will see you on the next fishing adventure.
Putting it all up, I don't even care anymore.
What?
They're all excited.
Get one of the video.
So all the kids are getting my old plastics and crankbaits and stuff that I'm switching out because I'm going all Googan. So it's like Christmas to them today. They're all sorting it out and divvying it up, so they're having a grand old time.